So what does my nephew and Victor Wembanyama, aka Wemby, have in common? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Momentum Monday Supercharged with Emily, and today's topic is the art of going for it. This is the time of year, regardless of whatever time of year you happen to listen to this, it will be the time of year to really ask yourself, am I holding back? Could I go for it a little bit more? Or am I playing it safe? Am I staying in my comfort zone, the proverbial comfort zone? I want you to ask yourself that question today. So I want you to think about that. Think about that for a moment. But while you're doing that, don't forget to subscribe, like at Supercharge Coach on YouTube, at Supercharge Club on Instagram, or at Emily the Entrepreneur. Definitely want to do that. And make sure you're subscribed for my newsletter, the Supercharge Weekly. Yes, you want to get that. And visit emilymchugh.com/free gift for your special How to Focus Toolkit. All right, now that we've gotten the niceties addressed, let's jump into this topic, the art of going for it. So while watching the Olympics this past couple weeks, the few things I was able to see in Paris, the Paris 2024 Olympics, there were so many lessons to learn, and there's so many things, so much inspiration from all the athletes and their amazing journeys, each one having their individual journey. But I have to tell you, it was that men's basketball final between France and the US, that gold winning match, that really captured my attention in a very specific way. And it gave rise to me really thinking of this topic to share, and the comparisons of what we can learn from the Olympic athletes and with business people and entrepreneurs. There's so many parallels. There's a lot that they have in common. As a matter of fact, the number one thing they have in common is that being an entrepreneur is a sport. It is an athletic sport. It is not just sitting at your desk typing. It is an athletic sport. It has been said, some statistics share that or show that we can exert as much energy in the pursuit of our entrepreneurial activities as a professional athlete exerts in training. And I 100% can endorse that as an absolute fact. So many similarities. So one of the first things to keep in mind when I think about what the athletes are doing and what they've have done is the art of going for it. It's just like, you have your vision, you have your goal, you have all of those things, but what it actually takes to show up and go for this thing, that driven nature. To be so driven, you have to have that clear focus. As we know, you have to have that laser focus, but you have to be willing to reach out. What does reaching out mean? So going for it means you have to exert yourself, put yourself out there in a way that may be uncomfortable. It could be making that phone call to that sales prospect that you've been holding off on. It had maybe not posting on social media because you kind of don't feel like, well, actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself with social media. Save that for number two. But for number one, it's reaching out to someone who could help you, getting help, reaching out to an opportunity that maybe you've been a little shy about, because you're afraid someone will tell you no, you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of all these things. So reaching out is one of the first things you want to be willing to do. The second thing you want to do is just show up. You've got to show up, and that speaks to the social media thing. And I have to say, there are times when you will not feel like showing up. There are times when you just don't want to get on here and talk to anybody. You would rather go to bed. I don't know, you'd rather do something else, and you kind of avoid it. So ask yourself, is there something that you avoid doing that you know you should be doing that would help your business? Are you avoiding doing something? Okay, so ask yourself that. What can you show up for in your business that will actually help and make the difference? So ask yourself that question. So while you're considering that, let me share a couple thoughts before we do number 3, a couple thoughts on the parallels with the Olympics. So for those of you who know basketball, will be aware of the 3-point shot. Now, I am no pro in basketball at all, I can tell you that, but I visited basketball.org and they explain what the 3-point shot is. And we know that some of these basketball stars, and especially, as I mentioned in the Olympics gold final, that these points were essential for the game to be won. So for the 3-point shot, they talk about the 3-point line. It's that arc. You'll see the line here that's drawn. I don't think you can see my cursor, but anyway, the line, if you can shoot from that 3-point line, and depending on the league that you're playing in, it can be different distances. So for the NBA, it's like 23 feet and 9 inches and so forth. High school, it's like 19 feet and what have you. So I assume for the Olympics, it was about 23 feet 9 inches as well, I'm assuming. But the point is, it's that distance. And if you're able to shoot the ball directly from that distance into the hoop, you can get a 3-pointer. And I'm always amazed at the fact of these people that do that. AKA, see here Steph Curry doing it and good old Wemby trying to block, but that didn't quite work in that shot. So the point of the matter is, you see these people take these shots and you're like, oh my word, how in the world did they get that in? How did that actually happen? And statistics show that it's about a 40% average to make those shots, so meaning 4 in 10 times. So you would have to go for it 10 times, and if you're very, very fortunate, you'll get it 4 times. And that's if you're already superb. So if you're not superb, you may never ever hit it from that distance, or you will get it less. But these high level athletes, like for example Steph Curry, I think he's over 40%. He's like a 42% average. So he's at the top of the game, the top of the league when it comes to shooting and getting these 3-pointers. Incredible. So what does it take for you to do the 3-pointer in your business? Well, I'm going to tell you, give you another insight to do that, to get your 3-pointers, is you have to, as I said, reach out, show up, and repeat. And what does this whole process entails? It takes research, preparation, and of course skill. It does involve skill, but skill can be obtained and it can be honed. And especially when it comes to business and your business, you can always improve. You don't have to be a natural born salesperson or a natural born entrepreneur. As far as I'm concerned, that doesn't really exist. It's skills that you hone and develop. And when you develop those muscles, they get stronger. Reaching out, you have to know, research who to reach out to. Show up, you have to know, do your due diligence on where you want to show up, like where should you be showing up, and why, and repeat. And being willing to do it again and again and again for as long as it takes to achieve your goals, for as long as it takes to get that ball in the hoop, to hit those 3-pointers, as many times as it takes. So if you were to study Steph Curry's practice routine, like what does it take for him to get that ball in that hoop over and over and over again and have the probability be in his favor, I am sure he has had to throw the ball a million times for it to get in, to increase the probability. So my question to you is, what do you need to do in your business to increase your probability of success so that you're shooting at 40% and higher, or whatever the number is, but it's getting higher, it's getting higher, it's getting higher. So I encourage you to think about that. In the meantime, I'd asked the question at the very beginning, and of course you want to stay tuned for Mindset Minute coming up in a moment, but I'd asked the question, what does Wemby and my nephew have in common? Well, let me show you. This is what they have in common. Don't they look alike? They do. So the whole time I was watching the Olympics and I see this guy who I, by the way, had never heard of before. I had never heard of Victor Wembanyama before in my life until I saw him in the Olympics. And the whole time I saw this guy, I said, he's reminding me of my nephew, Matthew. All I can think of is my nephew. And specifically, this photo, which I think is from 2016, this photo when my nephew was in high school on his high school basketball team. And the resemblance is just stunning. My nephew is 6'5", and I think Wemby is 7'4". Okay, a little different, but nonetheless, isn't this cool? I know. I just had to share it. I had to share it. So now, are you ready for our mindset minute? Okay. So our mindset minute today, just a little prelude before I get to it. So after, of course, we know that the USA team beat the French team with a very narrow margin. Well, relatively. It was a tough game. And Wemby was very, very upset when he lost, of course, because he's driven to succeed, driven to achieve, and it's like bred in his mind that I must achieve my goal, period. And sometimes when we fall short of our goals, of course we get disappointed. Of course we can get crushed. And of course we can kind of lose heart to some degree. But guess what you got to do? That's where the Mindset Minute is coming in today. With today's Mindset Minute, it's all about getting better. Get better. You don't settle for saying, oh, woe be me, woe be me. Get better. What do I need to do to increase my shots? What do I need to do to increase my probability of success? What do I need to do to refine my craft? Where do I need to reach out to? What do I need to show up for? What do I need to repeat or stop doing? Sometimes it's not just about doing something over and over again. Sometimes it's changing how you've been doing it. You may have to break the mold and start again and create a new one. And as I say, are you in a comfort zone which could be holding you back? There's something you're just used to doing and you just do it out of habit, but it's really not making that difference for your business or your game. So ask yourself today, what is it does it take for me to get my 3-pointers every time? Okay, woo! I'm clapping for myself. So exciting, so exciting. I know. Let me go back to this picture. I just can't help it. That is it. That is it. So I just love it. I just love it. So I hope Wemby sees this. I want you to share it, okay? I want you to share it. That's right. It's got to go viral. And of course, Matthew, my beloved Matthew. So, guys, and I'll go learn more about basketball. I got excited to watch a little more. So with that, I want you to make sure you show up next week for Supercharge with Emily. Our Momentum Monday always have something exciting to share. Like, subscribe, share. Tell me topics that would help you, that you'd be interested in finding out more about. Would love to tap into your topics and really provide you with exactly what you need if there's a topic you'd like me to discuss. Okay? In the meantime, stay supercharged and I will see you next time. Bye-bye and take care.